Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood. Hello everybody, I'm Lucas Southworth, and welcome to The Kachad. It's the only podcast brave enough to ask the question, hey, what's up with Cars Wash? This is good audio. I mean, it's only an audio medium, who cares, you know? Yes, John's right, say your name real quick.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. It's time for wet, hot American summer, but for cars.
Yes, you didn't say your name. It's the one thing I asked of you.
Hello, I'm John.
It's a good podcast we do, but John is right. We've had such success with, let's see if I can even remember them all, Boats the Search for McQueen, Cars 4, Cars Story, and, of course, our most recent foray into pitching Cars movies, which is, of course, The Mighty Trucks, I want to say.
You know, I'm gonna be real. I had completely forgotten about that one.
Oh, the Doc Hudson prequel?
The Doc Hudson prequel that was just The Mighty Ducks plus Footloose plus Fancy Free.
Yeah, we just put a bunch of movies together, but don't let that fool you. They've all gone triple platinum, but for movies, whatever that would be. I don't have a frame of reference. I'm just the ideas man. So we're doing another one. That wasn't a good transition. We're those three, but we're doing another one, and this time it's just a nice summer movie about cars. John is calling it Cars Wash, but we haven't decided the plot, so that may change.
Apparently, Double Platinum is the name of a movie.
Hey, you know, that's probably nothing, but it might be something.
It might be. Who knows? So, this movie, what's this movie? This movie is going to be fun. It's going to be for a certain audience. Who's that audience?
Teens.
And what do teens like? Apparently soda.
But they also like just a nice summer movie. And you may be asking yourself, John and Lucas, it's September. Summer's ending. You don't know a darn thing about how movies work. This is going to come out 2, maybe 3 summers from now. We got to pitch it. We've got to cast it, write it. We've got to film it or animate it. It's a Cars movie, so probably animate it.
No, this one's going to be filmed.
Okay,
it's
bold.
A live-action Cars film. We are going to be costuming it instead of, CG or hyper-realistic CG or other CG.
So more Cats the stage musical versus Cats the movie musical sort of situation.
More like
Starlight Express.
Starlight
More
Express.
direct.
Yes.
Yeah, Starlight Express.
We're going to Starlight Express this movie, and it's going to be skating on the beach, but not like typical skating on the beach, because like typical skating on the beach is skating right by the beach on the road. No, they're going to be skating on the beach.
A difficult task, but we've already seen in Cars 3 that there are ways to make wheels go on sand. Cruz Ramirez has learned this skill. Will she be in it?
She's going to not be in it because she's too old. That's right.
Yeah, get out of here, you fogies.
She's too old for our teenage beach fun movie.
Now, John, I want to stop you right there. Say those words you just said one more time.
Teenage beach fun movie.
Okay, take out the word fun.
Teenage beach movie.
Take out the last half of the word teenage.
Teen beach fun.
You know what I want. This is
Teen beach movie.
Yes. Now, are you aware that there is a
infamous
Disney Channel?
Disney Channel movie?
Yes, there is a DCOM called Teen Beach Movie, which I have researched extensively over the course of the last hour in preparation for this exact episode, because it sounded like we were going to make some sort of Teen Beach movie.
Now, is it the case that when I presented the idea for this episode, I did use the phrase teen beach movie?
Now, you may have done that. I'm checking the tapes. Let's go here. I said, what you want to do? And you said, new Cars movie, Cars Wash, summer beach party movie.
Dang.
So, in so many words, it was clear why it led me to that.
Yes. I did think in my head teen beach movie, but just because that was a movie that I knew existed and it has a very, very on the nose title.
Now, do you know, since we had so much success blatantly ripping off the Mighty Ducks / Footloose, do you know the plot of Teen Beach Movie, would you say?
A new kid in town moves
Already
to town, and there's a beach, and
Sure,
it's a musical. It's probably a musical. It's Disney. Is it like? There's dancing too, because there's got to be dancing.
Okay.
Some kid is trying to get over some form of bullying.
Nope.
But that might be in the background. Who knows? Guy likes girl, girl likes guy.
Here we go.
Teen beach movie.
There you go. John was very incorrect. Have you seen the movie Pleasantville, John? Or do you know of it?
I do know of it, and I've seen some of it, and it's got Spider-Man in it.
Spider-Man.
And Don Knotts.
Spider-Man and Don Knotts are both in Pleasantville. Teen Beach Movie is very much like Pleasantville meets High School Musical meets, I guess, West Side Story, because there are these two kids, the crazy kids, they're about to break up, and then they get hit by a 40-foot wave and wake up in the boys' favorite movie, Wet Side Story.
So it's also Grease.
Yes, it's more Grease than...
because they did both definitely die.
Now, I will come back and go against that. If you haven't been able to tell, I'm going to spend most of my time this episode talking about Teen Beach Movie, so just get ready for that.
So tell me about Teen Beach Movie.
Okay, I've been dying to tell you about Teen Beach Movie. I want it to be clear, I did not watch Teen Beach Movie, nor did I watch its sequel, which is not called Teen Beach Movie 2, it's just called Teen Beach 2, but we don't have time to get into that.
Do you know what Suicide Squad 2 is called?
I think it's just called Suicide Squad, I thought, because
It's called The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, they're pretending the first one didn't happen, maybe. I don't know enough about it.
They just added the word the.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a sequel so much as it's like a, hey, we get it, we're trying again. But anyway, so they get hit by a 40-foot wave and transported into the boys' favorite movie musical, Wet Side Story. Just, I don't have time to get into Wet Side Story. And the two main characters who are of Wet Side Story, who are supposed to fall in love with each other, accidentally fall in love with these two kids who broke up right before the wave hit them.
Now, you did just say kids as if the two main characters are not kids?
No, they're all teens. They're
okay,
all
good.
Teens. Yeah.
I don't want any gross old fogies in my movie.
Absolutely not. I would sooner die. But they realize that this gets them trapped in the musical because they've messed with the plot, so now they are stuck in it. Best expressed in the song Can't Stop Singing, the chorus of which goes, "Oh, I can't stop singing. Make it stop, make it stop. Am I real or just a prop?" Horrifying stuff.
Okay. So, are we thinking that in our movie, it starts off in the Cars world, they're hit with a wave, and then they end up in our world on the beach, or the reverse?
Part of me wants to make them end up in Wet Side Story also.
Okay, so
Now, I'm fine
so
if we don't go with that, but that was my first instinct, and I want to be honest.
okay. Sure. Cars can end up in Wet Side Story.
It makes just as much sense as them ending up in our universe.
Okay.
I feel like it does. It's been shown
See,
to
the thing
happen.
is, I've given you the option of us ending up in the Cars verse, which you did not choose.
Yeah, we're already there. We've been in it since Boats the Search for McQueen.
Yeah, but that's us in that universe. I'm talking about teenage us in
Jesus.
Teenage Cars movie.
Okay.
Teenage Cars beach movie.
Now that's pretty interesting. Yeah, sure, I'll allow it.
All right. So they live in this weird horrible nightmare where they can't stop singing because fate has dictated that they are now in a musical. Is that the route we're taking it with Cars? Because I'll be honest, I don't want to hear Tomater sing.
Now, John, the thing is, that's kind of the only thing I want to hear. I don't want to hear Larry the Cable Guy sing, of course.
Of course.
But the character Tomater singing, and I understand the two are intrinsically linked.
And we
I
have
want-
heard Mater sing many times, especially since we would clean the theater and he would be singing.
Yeah. I was thinking of Heavy Metal Mater, in which he sings dagum, 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 dagum. So Mater has been shown to be a successful singer.
Okay, so we're gonna make it a musical, I guess, because it's a Teen Beach movie, but
Yeah,
not
and
that Teen Beach movie.
Of course, we do have heavy hitter in the musical industry, Toe Mater.
Mm-hmm.
So that can bring some star power to it, and of course, Mater's terrible powers would be able to suck us into his reality if he ever so chose.
And rule of thumb, generally, for any of the non-major movies, if Lightning McQueen is in it, it's only going to be for a very small amount of time.
Yeah, he's had his stories, you know.
Mm-hmm. Like we can do some fan service, but that's it. That's all you're getting.
Cameo, maybe like a scene at most, but like it's one of those scenes that feels like an extended cameo. Basically, you get what I'm saying. It's in the movie just to be like, Lightning McQueen's in the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like in Justice League where you see some hints at Green Lantern a lot, and that's it.
They could have just done it. Whatever.
Could have.
Yeah, they were scared and be like, oh, the Space Marines, too much for our movie where we have the robot man and the man who can run at the speed of light. Whatever.
And a guy who's obsessed with saying mother and grabbing boxes and, has no other motivation other than those two things, really.
Hey, I like it when you talk bad about DC movies.
Justice League was a bad movie.
I love hearing you say that. And I know you've said it before, but it makes me happy to be reassured that you think that. But one thing I do want to point out, since we are basing this off Teen Beach Movie, and of course its sequel Teen Beach 2, is that at the end of Teen Beach Movie, you implied that maybe it was they get hit by the wave and then they die or they're knocked out and it's all a dream or something. But no, it's very heavily implied that it wasn't a dream.
And you say this because
they make it back to their reality, and then they do a musical number in their reality, and I don't know what's up with that. It's probably just like, it's the credits, so we're going to sing a song about it. But that's concerning.
It's residual magic bleeding into our world.
More than that bleeds into our world, because both in the post-credits scene and for the majority of Teen Beach 2, the characters from Wet Side Story follow them into the real world.
Oh no.
Yes.
So this is going to lead to our Halloween episode in which Mater's reality warping abilities have bled into our world and start possessing cars in our world.
Yes, because the big issue with Teen Beach 2 is that the main characters leave Wet Side Story and the movie universe begins to implode on itself. People just start disappearing as their reality unfolds.
Oh, like a crisis level event.
Yeah, it's very bad. Like, it doesn't affect the real world as far as I can tell, except for the characters who come into the real world. It still affects them even when they're not in it, but like only characters from the movie universe. But and I'm skipping over the entirety of Teen Beach 2 because again, I didn't watch these movies. But it seems that the resolution of Teen Beach 2 is that the main character of the real world convinces the main female character of Wet Side Story to go back into her universe and really just take charge in her movie because that's why she left it. Because it's set in the 60s and she's not really given a fair shake. So the movie becomes renamed Layla, Queen of the Beach, and this affects our reality retroactively since the release of the movie, uh, which also causes the two main characters to have never met.
Okay, so the two main characters in the real world
Yes, Mac and
end
Brady,
up
if you will.
creating a paradox in which they have never met and therefore cannot have affected the timeline in a way that
Yes.
changes the name of this film. Okay.
But
Okay.
they fall in love, or it's implied they do a song, they like dance to the movie in the background, and they like meet, and they're like, I'm Mac, I'm Brady. I did watch this scene because it sounded bonkers. Uh, but basically, the end of Teen Beach 2 just wipes the first two movies out of existence.
Uh, okay.
And I know that doesn't help us write Teen Cars movie, but I needed you all to know about it.
All right. So my initial proposal was going to be called Cars Wash because I
Sure.
wanted it to be like based around, oh, it's going to be this happy-go-lucky teenage like love story of this guy who works at like a car wash, and he's envious of the jock and all this stuff, and he falls in love with this girl, but he's got this low-paying job, and he's never gonna movie stuff.
Sure.
So we're throwing that completely out the window.
Which is a shame. It sounded like you had developed that a bit in your mind from what you were saying. But
ADHD does wonders to you. That movie was way more fleshed out than it should have been.
sure.
But we're throwing that in the garbage. We can keep some elements, like we can call it Cars Wash, and it can like have the car wash, and it's going to be run by Mater, and this is going to allow us to use some of our old footage that we have already been working on, which is just Mater eating a carrot.
Sure.
And we're going to throw that in the film. We're going to do that, and it's going to start off with some teens going to the beach. Now, do we want it to be a wave, or do we want it to be a sharknado?
Now, let me back up just a second. Teenage cars or teenage humans?
Teenage humans
Okay.
who are going to meet teenage cars.
Fantastic. I love it. It's already going to get pretty fantastical. You know how I love Sharknado, but maybe we should keep it a wave.
So, one thing about Grease and one thing about Teen Beach Movie is there's a suggestion, there's reason to believe that maybe these characters died. So maybe in our movie, we make it explicit. What if the event that puts them into the Cars world just blatantly kills them?
I love it.
And they're going to go to the beach. They're going to think they're going to have a fun time. And then, bam, natural disaster hits. And like the waves are splashing, the wind is blowing. And all of a sudden, a great gust of wind and water throws a car at these people. And next thing they know, they wake up and they're in Cars world. And they wash up on a Cars beach.
Now, have they become cars? That's very important.
All right, so the water and wind throw a car at each of them, and they each become the car that hits them.
That was literally exactly what what I was thinking, which is terrifying to me. But,
it's like a Freaky Friday situation, except permanent.
You know, how in Freaky Friday a tornado threw a car at Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan.
No, a tornado threw a Jamie Lee Curtis at a Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How could I be so foolish?
Okay, so that's how they switch bodies, and they wake up on the same beach, but it's not the same beach because they're animated and they're in cars.
They're in Cars?
They're in Cars World.
Oh, they are in the movie Cars. Okay. They're in the Cars verse, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Okay.
where in the timeline are we putting this? Because if we put it at Cars, they could change. They could do reality warping nonsense where Cars never happened because they ruined Cars, and Lightning McQueen never learns his lesson.
Now that's fair. I Part of me does want it to be before Cars though, and like I don't know why. Fully, I have no idea why, except maybe that Lightning McQueen is like a younger, like hot shot, and that
Mm-hmm.
feels like it fits this movie pretty well.
But is he a teen?
If it's before Cars, if it's another sort of prequel, then he could be in the Teen Beach Cars Beach
Ooh,
movie.
ooh, Lucas. Lightning McQueen, not in it. He can be in like commercials and whatnot because he's a young up and comer. But who lives in California before the events of Cars?
Uh, oh, Sally Carrera?
Sally Carrera.
Man. But
So
yeah,
she's a hotshot up and coming lawyer, maybe, or maybe she's thinking about becoming a lawyer, and then she goes to the beach one day because she's in California, and like she's still a teen. She's like, I'm gonna go to college at the end of summer. What am I gonna do with the rest of my life? I don't want to be a stuffy old lawyer. Except, like, she also wants to save the world because that was a part of her character beforehand. And
John,
then she
really
got like
quick,
disillusioned. Yes.
I do want you to know that you've come weirdly close to the main conflict of the main character of Mac in Teen Beach movie. The reason they break up is she's going to go to college, but she's only doing it because she feels like that's what she's supposed to do. But just incredible
Okay,
stuff.
so this is perfect. This is
Yes.
perfect. All right, so two young hotshot teens appear on the beach that Sally Carrera just happens to be at, and they vaguely recognize her, but they don't know what's going on. They're freaking out. Okay, so they wake up on the beach. They're freaking out. Younger, but still probably like not a teenager, like maybe 20s, maybe older 20s. Mater is there for some reason working a car wash and eating a carrot, and Sally's just at the beach, and then she meets these two uh, teens from our world who are freaking out, and she just like doesn't understand that they're from a different world, and she thinks that everything they're saying that's like, oh, you don't get it, we're not from here, and they're like, oh yeah, you're from Europe or something, and it's gonna be great.
It'll be a good gag. Everyone will love it.
Yes. One thing, we're gonna make this a comedy, and it's gonna be like,
Oh,
okay, so they're gonna make a joke that's a running gag. It's gonna be, they're gonna say, "Man, this place is stupid. Everything's just car pun," and then they're gonna make car puns throughout the movie, and like every time they make a car pun, it's going to be real.
oh yeah, like uh so what is I don't know why I jumped in like, "Oh, John, you've passed me the ball. I got it. I'll spike it now." But just give me a second. Okay, they'll be like, "Oh, so what's Cincinnati called? Rim Cincinnati?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, what's Cincinnati?" Yeah, and then they'll pass a sign for it,
I don't know
like
what
that.
Cincinnati is, but I do know what Cincinnati is. Yes, exactly like that.
Yes, cool. I like that.
Uh, Now here's the question: a lot of teen beach movies, it's all about like, oh, we're gonna show off these bikini babes, which brings me to a question from Liz. What
Ooh,
do I wear bikinis? Car-kinis?
now okay. I don't see any reason why they ever would.
What
That's
would
sort
a
of the
what would a bikini look like as a paint job?
No, we do have to, of course, answer what a bikini would be, even if we don't think they would exist. You say
She
as a
just
paint
said their
job?
eyes are their boobs. I'm getting some weird feedback from Liz. All right, flashing. I don't know. She's just like making some weird hand gestures about flashing and boobs.
Lizzie, this is a family show. You can't do that.
I don't know what you're saying. Why would it be over their eyes and not their headlights? Just painting over their headlights? Okay, maybe.
This is not a ridiculous. That's the best answer I had. Don't be like, oh, I'm painting over their headlights. We constantly say their headlights are their sex things.
My confusion came from how she was trying to convey that to me silently with her hand charades.
Please describe it to the audience.
She just kind of did the flashing motion with her hands as if someone was flashing, and that was pretty much it for a solid minute.
And you didn't get that?
And then she would do the hands opening and closing in front of her eyes, and I was so confused. Now she's just saying Car-kini.
No, that's perfect, and maybe should be in the title of our movie.
Car-kini Babes.
It's right there. Why isn't Lizzie on this podcast?
Because she doesn't want to be.
The Liz's would be much better at this. My Liz has her built-in Disney knowledge. Your Lizzie's just funnier than either of us.
Wow.
But anyway, she answered it. She got there.
Okay, so Car-kini Babes is a summer hit. It's going to be a musical. What's the first song going to be?
Okay, now that's a challenging question, John. I can tell you what the first song of Teen Beach Movie is, and that is Surf Crazy.
Surf Crazy.
Now, I do want to engage in the fact of, if we're going to do this, what do cars do at beach?
Wait a minute.
That's what
That brings me to a question from Liz.
We're playing it fast and loose this episode, huh?
I'm distracted now because apparently my dog was chewing on a bone, which wouldn't be weird or concerning if we knew where the bone came from.
Okay.
It's a rib.
I was about to say, that's pretty classic dog, but if you don't know where the bone came from, that's a little concerning, yeah?
Yep. Is that a human rib?
Nobody knows.
It doesn't look like the one we've given someone. It looks like a broken human rib.
Do you need to, go?
Call
Is
the
everything
CSI?
okay?
I
Did
do
BB
not
kill
know.
someone?
I don't think BB killed someone, but she may have discovered that someone else has killed someone.
Well, if that ends up being the case, let's go ahead and let me know before we release this episode, or it will be in pretty poor taste, man.
Yep, fair enough. Okay, so question from Liz.
Yeah, go for it, bud. You've already done one. Let's go for two.
Do cars get sunburnt?
Now, I don't know what happens to metal if it's just left in the sun for a long time. I know what happens when it's exposed to the sea and the sea air and I guess sand to a lesser extent.
Now, what happens when metal gets exposed to sand?
I just imagine, for the paint job, sand getting up in it, scratching against it wouldn't be good, is all I was thinking. And, I guess sand would get all up in it in the same way that sand gets all up in us when we go to beach, but, that's bad for a mechanical machine.
Very true, very true. Except it doesn't seem to bother the race cars of these movies.
Yeah, that's fair, but, you know more about this kind of thing than me. If you just leave, a piece of painted metal out in the sun for a very long time, that's, nothing's gonna happen, right? The paint will fade eventually.
It depends on the paint, depends on the metal. If you paint certain things with not great paint, that paint will just bubble and peel off. If you're a car with a very nice heat-resistant enamel, you're probably fine.
Yeah, so I wouldn't imagine they'd get sunburnt. If it got to the squishy bit, I imagine the squishy bit would be incredibly susceptible to sunburn.
I would almost imagine the squishy bit is semi-translucent.
It's
nasty blobfish thing.
Yeah, it's like a creature that lives in the deep, deep sea or in deep, deep caves that has never seen the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It would be incredibly harmful to the squishy bit, but to the car itself, I think would be fine.
Now, if we're saying they don't get sunburnt per se, does sun hurt eyes? Because we know that lights can hurt eyes.
Yeah, we've seen like them squint in the face of like headlights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, imagine if they just looked into the sun for too long. Like same thing that happens to us, they go blind.
I was just thinking
Or
about that good quote from Storm. What happens to a toad?
oh, okay,
What
okay, yeah.
happens to a car when it stares at the sun? The same
Same
thing that
thing
happens
that
to everything else. It
so
goes
that
blind.
line is in our movie now.
Yep.
Cool.
And it's going to be one of those lessons that Mater teaches the new cars.
Yeah, I did want to get back to Mater. First, first, let me go back. What does Car do at beach? I think that's so important to
All right,
answer.
so just because they don't tan or get sunburnt doesn't mean they don't sunbathe.
Yeah, I could see just doing it for the enjoyment of like I'm thinking of like how lizards lay on warm rocks,
Hmm.
but like how people just sit outside on a nice day. It's the same situation.
And we
Uh
do know, like, there is in universe reasoning to go to beach, and it is to train for some reason.
yeah, but like half of beach is sand,
Hmm.
other half of beach is ocean.
Other half of beach is corrosion.
Yeah, so like do they swim?
Uh,
Surf?
certain ones certainly swim.
Yeah, Finn McMissile does have the ability to turn into a submarine, and I think that's what you're thinking of.
Hmm. Also, there are boats.
There are boats, and like maybe that's just their domain.
What if surfing is just a thing that pretty much only boats do in this universe, and it's just they get close to shore and try and not wash up on it?
That could be, or maybe maybe it's just very risk intensive for cars.
Hmm.
Because if I remember right, when they dropped Finn McMissile into the ocean, they're like, "Oh, he's for sure dead," and like did not bother checking in any way.
I mean,
Understandably, he's a car that fell into the middle of the ocean.
and the only thing that like really would have killed him at that point, it seems, was the fact that he wouldn't have been able to breathe if he didn't have a built-in breathing apparatus.
Yeah, so like I feel like if a car falls off its surfboard and into the ocean, like it's not good.
So with a regular surfboard, some of them have that little thing that like attaches to you.
Uh-huh.
Do we think all cars have that?
I would think so, and maybe like some sort of the surfboard has to be just incredibly buoyant for obvious reasons and very large for the same obvious reasons.
It feels
Uh
like a surfboard would almost have to just be a boat.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting to
So like
also.
harping on the rated R type teen beach movie, the beach is a place you go to ride your friends.
Oof. Don't love that.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just a drink anymore. Sex on the beach might be all that you can do there.
Sure. I could understand that they could maybe just do some super basic water stuff, like just sort of wade very, 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 very into the shallow parts of it,
Hmm.
and the super adventurous ones, maybe just like get a boat to let them get on top of them.
Now, do they do sand castles?
I mean, I want them to, but like forklifts, I mean, our answer to everything. Forklifts probably could.
Does Mater?
Mater could like look at the sand and form it into a sand castle.
Yeah, but he
Uh
could also probably use his hook.
yeah, it would be very difficult, but Mater's been shown to do some very difficult things in the past, so yeah, probably.
Okay. So there probably are some sand castles, there's some surfers, there's some boats, there's some regular cars doing a little bit of wading and whatnot. There's some people racing for some reason. There are crabs for some reason. Which of these things are our protagonists going to stumble into first?
Uh well, we've met Sally Carrera. She's
Hmm.
gone to the beach to find herself. So I imagine they just are mostly trying to figure out, much like how if we were transported into the Cars verse as teenagers, is trying to figure out how all this stuff works. So they maybe run into like a pair of children, forklifts, doing some sand castles, and they're like, "Oh, geez, that doesn't. Why would this translate to this universe?" Uh, etc. Stuff like that. Few
Are we
good scenes.
talking? Are we talking like X-Men, the first movie, where the senator who has been mutated stumbles onto the beach and is just freaking out all the families by being naked?
Yes, but we're freaking. Did we decide these characters are teenage us? Is that what I remember?
Either that or in bikinis, maybe even both. Car-kinis.
Thank you, Lizzie. But yeah, I think we're freaking them out not because we're naked, because that's not a thing.
We could
Uh,
just like have only our primer on.
yeah, I think it's probably more that we're screaming a lot.
Yep, and we're like driving crazily because it's our first time ever driving as cars, and we're probably running over sandcastles and getting like sand in people's eyes.
Yeah, and since it's like we have interrupted a Teen Beach movie, maybe we're interpreted as like the bully characters. Since the classic bully character in the Teen Beach movie is knocking over sandcastles.
Or we're the nerd who stumbles into it, and then the bully, like, hey, that was my little brother's sandcastle. I'm going to beat you up. Except it's a monster truck.
Yeah, that's better because I don't want to be the antagonists of the movie within the movie we're creating.
All right, so is the first song going to be us freaking out about being cars? Or is the first song, I'm going to beat you up for ruining my little brother's sandcastle?
I think we could stumble upon the first song and just sort of be like hiding in the background. And like that's just your very expository, like, this is a teenage beach movie, but it's cars. And we're like, what's going on? And maybe like we like involuntarily sing a couple lines in that. And then maybe the second song is we've stumbled across the bully character's little brother's sandcastle.
Okay, okay. All right. So we're going to get beaten up, and
Sure.
then Sally saves us by saying some random nonsense about uh, lawyers.
Yeah, she tells the bully that's assault, and she'll represent us in court.
Sally sings her hit song, That's Assault,
Yes,
right after the bully sings, I'm going to beat you up because of what you did to my little brother's sandcastle.
yes, I've got. But her song is that's assault and car battery. Uh, that's is there a better way to work in car battery?
Well, she's singing That's Assault and Battery, but you and I add the word car before battery. A lot of our puns are going to be really easy because we're just like making them by interjecting them into the songs.
Sure, and maybe we like pop our hood to be like, yeah, car battery, and then we're like, oh Jesus, we can pop our hood, and then we like sit out of the song for a little bit
We can
because
pop our hood? Yeah, I've always wondered what's it. And then someone like slams it shut and says, "Don't do that."
we don't do that here.
You get a classic like mother screaming saying you should be ashamed of yourself because you pop your hood.
Yeah, like the classic scandal, like it's like the Wilhelm scream, but like of the scandalized woman of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, that.
My stars. All right. So we gonna be almost beat up, and then the two great songs have happened. The original song was just a song we stumbled into after waking up to waves hitting us in the face because we were waking up from being killed by cars crashing into us.
Yes, of course, thank you.
And from there, we spend the day learning how to be cars and figuring out stuff about Sally. And we don't know how we know Sally because we know about the movie Cars, but she doesn't look exactly like Sally because, you know.
Yeah, and also we haven't started the chat at this point in our lives, so we've like seen cars, but like we're not like, oh yes, Sally Carrera from Cars, but like several years younger. I recognize you. Like we
Mhm.
would be, of course, if we were in this situation now.
Of course. Because it'd be really strange if we were to make this episode and then not know what's going on when we're in this Teen Beach movie.
Yeah. Now I do have. This is maybe like the plot is we're trying to help Sally. It seems, but I want the other part of the plot to be even in our teenage years, we're questioning everything about the logic in this universe, and that starts to spread, maybe. Like, people
Okay.
hear us and they're like, hey, wait, how do we make things without our hands? And like, I've never thought about like how we like mine and find all this oil and gas that we need all the time. Uh and so everyone's having existential panics that are spreading wider and wider. And basically, I want the reality collapsing in on itself element of Teen Beach too.
Mm-hmm. And the problem is this world is like in turmoil and whatnot, but we can't get out of it. Like
Yeah,
there's no
because
escape from this universe that we're destroying.
we can't find the escape. And now we do want the movie to resolve. So we'll have to find some sort of escape or something. But that's for later in the podcast. We still got the middle of the movie. We'll figure it out.
I think the like resolution of the film is we just chill out and live the rest of our lives in this Cars world.
No, I have something, but I want to save it because I think it'll be impactful. So let's go ahead and keep. So we Sally comes to our defense. We're like, hey, we're freaking out, and she's like, clearly you're freaking everyone else out also. And Sally's sort of unaffected, I feel like, by our logic. Like, she hears it, but there's
Mm-hmm.
so much on her mind that like she's like, I can't deal with this right now. It's like how I always sort of was with people in college who were like, what if everyone's colors are different? Uh, because I had a friend who may be listening to this podcast as we speak. I think he listens. Who was like, what if all our colors are different? And I would always say, like, I don't care. Like, there's no way we're ever going to know if that's true. And even if it is, it affects literally nothing about my day-to-day life. So like, yeah,
And
they very much could be, but like, who cares?
and there's like two things. Biologically, it works the same way, so we should essentially be experiencing it in the same way. And even if we don't, the end result would still be the same. So even if it wasn't the same, which it probably is, it still wouldn't matter in any way because our perception would still affect us in the same way.
Yeah, that's basically where but on a more like, Sally is just distracted. She can't be like, I don't care about where the buildings came from. I got to decide if I want to be a lawyer or not.
I was thinking maybe she just doesn't think that what we're saying is literal. She thinks that we're in some way trying to be philosophical when we're not. Like,
Mm.
where did the buildings come from? You know, that's a good question. Like, I don't.
You really
What is
should
all of this
question.
for?
Yeah, you really should question, like, where did we get these materials? Were they like harvested in a like moral way? Were people exploited to do this?
No,
Or
like
like,
that
well,
word harvested.
a
That's a
weird word you
what?
chose.
How does that happen? Because like there are people who do that, but they're not people, but they're people.
Yeah, we do so often treat like the lower class as a commodity and not as people. You're absolutely right. This is why I want to get into the law.
So yeah, like she's not getting it because she's assuming too much of us, and everyone else gets it because they realize how ridiculous everything is. So that's
Yep.
great.
So reality is collapsing, but Sally doesn't notice at any point in the film. Maybe at like the very end, but we haven't gotten there yet.
So what I'm thinking is we meet Sally and then we start like making her want to have a wild time. We're the reason she gets the tattoo that is a decal on the back. We're the
Love that.
reason she considers not going to law school. We give her like existential crises of like, yeah, but I do want to have fun with my life. And like, yeah, I care about these things, but at the same time, like, how can I really enact change myself? I should just have some fun. And then, like, we're leading her astray by being, insane people from another world who have already died once.
Yeah, we're taking a very much like nothing matters nihilistic, which she is taking as like a yeah, nothing matters. I'm young. Uh,
And
but
instead of ever realizing that we're from another world, she just starts to think, yeah, but you guys is the way you're handling all of this just isn't healthy.
I'm thinking maybe it's when we see her get what is described as a pinstripe tattoo, one of us sees that and like it flashes to like our human a flashback of like us younger watching Cars and seeing that scene and being like, "Oh wait, this is the love interest in Cars. If we don't get her back on the path she's supposed to be on, then she'll never like a Back to the Future or like a Teen Beach movie
Hmm.
kind of plot. We've got to fix it so it works how it's supposed to work because we've led her too far astray.
And if she doesn't, uh, if that doesn't happen, then Cars, the movie, doesn't happen, which means that this universe would never exist. And then, like, that's your argument. And my argument is, yeah, but I don't care. And you're like, but we could disappear. And like, I'm pretty sure we're already dead. So I don't know if that matters.
Yeah, and it's actually revealed that it's not we are freaking people out and they're questioning their reality, but that's not what's dissolving the reality. It's actually the fact it's the Back to the Future thing. We're separating it too much from the path it's supposed to be on. We just thought it was people questioning reality, and we're like, yeah, this
Hmm.
rules. We're destroying this reality by finding its flaws. But no, we are just, it's destined to go on a path, and we are getting it off of that.
And then there's going to be like, I want the main plot of the film. I wanted it to be like we were having like fun beach time and distracting Sally, and then she had to learn to be healthy and go the right way. But then I realized that I like this direction of, okay, but you realize what's happening and I realize what's happening, and then I decide that I want to destroy this universe, and you decide you don't want to. So you're like a
Okay.
hero, and I'm the villain in a way.
I do want to redeem you by the end of the movie. I want to get you to come around. Maybe get you to see the beauty in the Cars universe. Like I do a big we go opposite ways. You have a good villain song because villain songs are the best part of any Disney movie. Uh,
It's just the song Hellfire.
sure.
It's
Uh,
it's just blatantly that song.
I was thinking one of their hands where you're spreading like the anti Cars verse reality propaganda.
Yeah, I'm like freaking everyone out by making them realize that they can't do any of the things they're doing because they don't have hands.
And I have my lowest moment, I suppose, sort of like the since you've made me the hero of this film, I will accept it begrudgingly. Uh, on my hero's journey, I have my lowest point, and I sing a sad song. I guess
Nice.
I don't know anything more about it. I thought I did good on John's villain song. I don't know what my sad song is.
All right,
I'm gonna die
the
again. I'm gonna
songs
die again, but as a car.
I don't want to be dead. That's the name of your sad song in the middle of the movie.
I already died once today.
Nice. So, what's the plan? Are you trying to like save the universe or trying to get back, or is it I'm trying to destroy the universe because I think destroying the universe will send us back?
I think that I like the idea of you thinking destroying the universe will send us back because I think that gives you good motivation. I think I'm just my motivation is probably something like I don't think we can go back, and it's bad to destroy a universe. So I'm gonna try to stop my best friend John from doing that.
Oh, the reason you don't think we're going to go back is the same reason you don't tell me that you don't think we're going to go back. And it's because you die second from the car, but you definitely see me die from the car.
Yeah,
Like the car crushes
there's a
me, and then you see my dead body afterward.
yeah that'll be shown explicitly, and I already died once today because that's how I know that I'm dead.
And like that's how you end up stopping me is by finally admitting to me that we're very much dead.
Yeah, you think
Like,
that
I
like
think
maybe
we're maybe in a coma or something.
yeah, or even like it's a dream that only you're having or something. And like I very clearly like it's gonna be one of those things where like from the beginning it's clear I'm uncomfortable and it's only revealed during the like third act lowest point where I'm like, yeah, we're dead and I know that and I've known it the whole time. And that's what those like sad glances and awkward like yeah Johns have been about the whole movie.
Mm. All right, so I'm imagining one of their hands is after I've already become mayor of whatever town it is that we're
Sure,
in.
why not?
I become the governor of California,
Sure.
and I'm singing this song like at a press conference to like destroy all of California because I'm making them realize that none of them have hands. And like Mater is for some reason there, but like in a cage. Sally is like at my side, being super nihilistic and like ignoring all of the things that she cares about and giving up on her dreams and whatnot. And it's like this weird, extremely showy, everything's like on fire and there's just like electric lights and concerts going on and it's like super crazy. And then like in the middle of the song, like right as I'm singing, like right at the middle of it is when you say, "It's because we're already dead." And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I think it could be like a really like if you'll forgive me for being a little dark here, it could be a really interesting message of it's not that things don't matter because one day you'll die. It's that things matter so much because one day you'll die. Like it's back and that's what like gets Sally back on track of like, oh man, he said that much more eloquently than Lucas is saying it in this podcast right now. Uh you've like I do some like you've got to do what you can with your time and I know that very well because I was hit by a car thrown by a tornado earlier today.
But only after I watched my best friend die the same way. And then it like
Yeah.
shows the flashback of you just like watching this terrible, terrible scene. But it's also like half funny because it's like the Mean Girl scene.
Yeah, no, it should be played for laughs a little bit. Uh and like I think that would maybe give a good chance for I would start singing about like I don't know, like do what you can with your time or like as much good as you can or something like that. And maybe as I go on, Sally joins in a little bit and it flashes back to like some earlier scenes or like she just says something that she said when she was still in her idealistic phase. Like she sort of mutters it under her breath like that is what I believe. No wait, what's going on? Why am I doing any of this?
Perfect. I love it.
And I don't know if we're there yet. I still have the ending. We have to redeem you first. So let's redeem you, and then I've got the ending whenever we're ready.
Uh the it like my after I realize that I'm already dead and that I'm just hurting all of these people for nothing, uh I have my sad song, which is a reprisal of your song, and it's I don't want to be dead. I don't want to have died already today.
It can be I died already today question mark. Like wait, I did? Oh no.
Oh boy. And then like by the end of that song, we're both just singing it together and I've accepted the fact that I have in fact already died today.
You're openly sobbing. Understandably. I'm like, yeah, this is sort of what I've been going through this whole time.
Nah. At the very end, like we're hitting it on a really weirdly high note, but as soon as the song's over, I just start weeping. Like
Yeah,
I'm a
because
little sad in the middle, like, and then I start singing it with you, and then like I get happier and we both get cheery, and it's kind of like it's tough to be a god, but then it like ends and abruptly I'm just sobbing.
I could dig that. Why not? Okay, so Sally goes on and she's like, yeah, I'll be a lawyer. This doesn't work great because Sally then later in the story realizes that being a lawyer isn't what she wants to do. And then she moves to no, she's still a lawyer in Radiator Springs.
Hmm.
She's just
She's
also a
fighting for
small
the little
business
guy.
owner. Yeah, she doesn't want to be a corporate lawyer, so she loses her way again at some point, but that's not our problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then she finds it again, maybe thinks of her good friends John and Lucas, but cars.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
All right,
and
so I think the redemption is uh, after things kind of resolve for a bit, you start like fading away, and then I'm like, "What's going on?" And then like, "I don't know, man, but I'll see you on the other side." And then you vanish, and then you're actually back in the real world, and you've been saved. And then
oh,
it like shows you're watching Cars like 5 or 6, and it shows Sally like talking about her good friend who is visiting and like coming to visit, and it's me, and I'm real old.
okay, I do like that. You wouldn't be any older than Sally, but
Well,
I
it's
guess
Cars
Sally would just
5, so
also be
Sally's
old.
like
Yeah.
60 at this point.
Can I pitch what was my ending also?
What's that?
I think we both are like, hey, we're here. We've got to accept it. You know, like this is just, we died, and apparently this is just what happens when you die, which a bonkers statement we are making from making this movie. And then we're like, oh gosh, we got to go let Mater out of his cage. And we go over to Mater and we're like, hey, we're so sorry. A bunch of stuff happens. And he's like, that's all right, boys. You know, these things happen. You two did good today. I knew I was right in choosing you, or something like that. Uh,
But I can only send one of you back.
but
What?
I think I want both of us to go back. If you want to stay, that's fine.
But I
But
really
I
like
think,
the idea of like you're watching Cars 5 or something, and then it's got me driving up in it, and then I look directly at the camera and wink.
okay, once again, you've weirdly hit the nail on the head, Teen Beach movie wise, because at the end of Teen Beach 2, the character who was sent back, who got inspired to take over the movie and just rewrote their reality, does wink through the screen at the character who doesn't remember her, I want to point out. So
Nice.
just probably thinks she's going crazy.
All right.
But either way, the stinger line I want from Mater, as one or both of us are going back to reality,
Life is a
is
highway.
no. That's pretty good. But he'll say, man, this will make one tall tale. Uh,
How dare you?
and then we go back, one or both of us goes back, but I did like that because again it ties back into Teen Beach 2 very well, because everyone gets their memories wiped at the end of those, except apparently the main character, who goes back to her own universe and winks through the screen, who now has dimensional powers. Who else has dimensional powers and is the only one to remember the stories that have happened? Mater.
Yes.
So this I'm finding a weird connection here. I think this whole scenario is a giant Mater's tall tales.
Okay. Okay.
It happens, but Mater undoes the damage. Maybe if you want to stay in the universe, that's fine. You could be what proves that it actually happened, I
See,
guess.
that's what I was
in the
hoping, is that
stinger.
there's just going to be something that proves that it was real.
Okay, so that will work very well. But Mater has to undo all the damage that's done from us convincing everyone that the reality makes no sense.
Or
So
maybe that's what I do throughout the like time in between when that prequel happens and Cars 5, and it's like that's what I've been doing this whole time, is righting the wrongs that I did in Cars.
I could see it being like Mater have recruiting you to help, but it still needs to be supernatural in some way, so no one remembers it.
Oh,
Except,
Lucas. All right, so we reveal that I've been righting the wrongs, and then I wink at you through the movie, and then my character fades out of existence in that movie, and then I show up right behind you, be like, "Hey, what you watching?"
yeah, it's it's Quantum Leap. I don't know if you know much about Quantum Leap. I've never actually seen it. I just know the plot of it,
I've
which
seen
is
more of
this.
it than you have.
Yeah, this guy has to travel through time. He like switches bodies each time. His body doesn't travel through time, just his consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
and he helps people throughout time. And they always say he hopes his next leap is his leap home, and that's your leap home. Is once you've done enough, you know.
Oh, okay. My character winks, and then Mater's right next to him and says, "Hey, I think it's time I finally give you that toe you've been needing." And then
Ooh,
he
good
drags
stuff.
me off screen, and then I just show up behind you and be like, "Hey, what you watching?"
Yeah, okay. Instead of Cars 5 or 6, it is a Mater's Tall Tale, and it's like the only part I see is Mater is like this. The stinger is Mater being like, and that's how a musical happened and reality fell apart. And Lightning's like, that can't be true. And then the stuff happens.
That can't be true. I drive up. Oh, it's true. Better believe it. And then he
Yeah,
drives me off.
you like the second you're off screen, you appear behind me. Sure. Why not? I don't know if any of that made sense. I liked saying it a lot, and hopefully y'all liked hearing it a lot. It seems
Lucas,
like
we
the
have to
episode's
write and
over.
perform these songs.
The thing is, we don't. Uh,
We
if
got to
someone,
write and produce at least 5 songs now.
you know what, I'll say, if any one of our fans actually writes any of these songs, at some point we'll do our best to record one. But writing them, no. Recording them, if you all do it, sure.
Okay.
And that's not just lyrics, you need music too.
But are we recording the music?
Yes, but they need to like write the notes that we would be
Okay.
singing. They can't just write the lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like they have to also provide the accompaniment.
If they want to do that, that would also be good. We don't know how to do any of those things. But what we
Speak
do
for
know,
yourself and also myself.
I did. What we do know how to do is end the podcast. That's the end of the episode. Hopefully you liked the weird. Oh, we left the beach pretty early in that movie. Oh, the beach was very important.
I become mayor because I'm so cool at the beach.
Got it. Why not? Sure. That's how it's still Teen Beach Movie. That's how we can justify having talked about Teen Beach Movie for 50% of this episode.
The beach is like 75% of the movie. Then stuff gets real crazy right at the end.
I love it. Anyway, it's the end of the podcast. I've said it 3 times now. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it that you do that. It's really weird all the time. Felt particularly weird this time, but hey, you still listen, and that's very cool. When you don't send us things to talk about, what happens is we research Teen Beach Movie and talk about that. So if you like that, don't send us. Wait, no. Either way, send us stuff to talk about, please. We need it desperately. You can email us at thekachat@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us or DM us on Twitter at thekachat. We'll also love submission for like pre-made episodes, which are like, what in human history would be weird as Cars, or what movies would make good prequels to Cars, or we talk about this character for a while. I think that's all of our series. Anyway, John says stuff. You do it.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Tell anyone and everyone about this podcast and tell them that it's great and that they should listen to it. Yeah, just do that. Until next time, remember to float like a Cadillac and
sting like a beamer.
Sting like a beamer.
Yeah. Also, I was pulling all that stuff about Teen Beach Movie from the Disney Wiki. I forgot to say, but that was the wiki quote. The whole show was the wiki quote. Whoa!